This is
Hi,
such
Jamie.
a wonderful series. I think it's so intriguing to be 25 years since the last cursed family that we visited. Benjamin, talk about building this character. Did you see the previous series to sort of build on the Trenchard family dynamic, or was Frederick
Yeah.
just based on your description that you were given of him?
Well, I mean, there wasn't much of a description in the first script that I got, and the scripts changed quite a lot. They also arrived quite late, so I think I actually prepared a completely different person to what it turned out to be. But no, I mean the kind of the trauma and the relationship with his father was always there, and I think I based most of my work around that. Um, but yeah, no, it's it was kind of evolving as we went, and even in post production, the sort of gauging the level of where Frederick's hurt and pain and his relationship to Clara was in the world was quite tough, I think. So it'd be interesting to see what people think. Whether I got anywhere close, I don't know.
Well, Frederick seems absolutely captivated by Clara. What is it that initially draws him in and continues to keep him so enthralled by her?
I think he's very, as I've just said, kind of trapped by the trauma of his childhood, and he lives in this very claustrophobic world of rules and the various behaviors expected of him in society. And Clara comes in and is just a breath of fresh air, and she's kind of part of that world, but not part of that world, and is kind of naive to it all. And I think he maybe thinks he might find some redemption through her and through that fresh approach to life. And I don't think he knows any of that, but I think there's an instant attraction, and she's so different to the kind of society women that he does know. Yeah.
Harriet, everyone has secrets, so we've heard. What is her sister the only one she can truly confide in and hold those secrets? Is that the only person she truly trusts?
I think it's hard. I think Clara and her sister do have a really good relationship, or did have a really good relationship until she got married and moved away from home and sort of got swept up in this whole new world of aristocracy and order and control. And actually, Clara isn't that able to talk to her sister as much as she perhaps would like to in the show. And I think for that reason, she sort of reaches out to the Marquise, for example. She feels like perhaps she's a good person to confide in because she's older and wiser and like this really confident being that I think Clara sort of kind of is in awe of a little bit and maybe wants to emulate a little bit. But I think she's also quite wary of talking about the problems that her and Frederick are having at all, because people talk in that society and reputation is everything. So I think she doesn't really know who to talk to. She actually developed quite a nice relationship with her lady's maid, Davison, because they have such an intimate relationship. She's there with her most hours of the day. And so, yeah, she's probably one of the people that she talks to the most eventually, which is really lovely.
The costumes are just exceptional for this series. Harriet, what was it like for you to put yours on? And did it take stepping into that elegant gown to truly become Clara?
Oh my God, that was incredible. The costume fittings are always one of my favorite parts of a job because it's kind of where a lot of the character often comes from. Once you put those clothes on, you really can visualize the whole thing. And that was definitely true for this because the costumes are just incredible. They're almost like characters of their own. The first costume that I wear in the show is a genuine Victorian piece. It's 130 years old, the bodice. So putting that on was literally like wearing a piece of history and thinking of all the people that have worn it before you, and getting into the corset as well, as uncomfortable as it was, really did help with like the posture and understanding the way that people would have moved back then and how they would have felt every hour of the day because it's different. It takes some getting used to.
Benjamin, how far will Frederick go to keep his secrets? Clearly, his brother, he feels, is going to vex him. more than he'd like, more than he'd hoped. He was getting away scot-free with those deep historic pasts and
Yeah, I mean, I think he wants to prove himself so desperately, and he keeps kind of overstretching himself with these business deals and following the marquise and into her business enterprises, and he's so desperate to put his reputation beyond any reproach, beyond any criticism, because he has this trauma he doesn't want to expose, or rather this secret, depending on how much you've watched at this point. But Yeah, I think it's properly a question of life and death for him. If you don't have your reputation, as Harriet said, um, you have nothing in this society. It's such a regimented structure that if people don't see you as upstanding, and again, I'm shaky on what I can say, but yeah, you have to maintain your place in society, and there's certain behaviors expected, and lineage is very important. And I think Frederick would risk everything, including those relationships that are most important to him, seemingly most important to him.
well, every episode is just so intense and so intriguing because you never know one moment to the next truly what's going to be revealed, what's going to even happen between any of the characters. Benjamin, was there a scene you filmed that maybe you're particularly proud of, or an episode you really are eager for fans to take a look out for?
Yeah, I think one I really enjoyed is maybe the wrong word, but one that quite often when it feels good on the day and then you see it back, you go, oh, it's not quite how I imagined it. But I think the end of six, I have a scene with my brother that I was genuinely like, hey, this is all right. I think this works. And I think it really accelerates sort of six, seven, eight. It just things really start to kick off, and it's just scene after scene that are really relentless and intense. And Harriet and I had a lot of scenes like that where we just at the end of the day kind of feel like, are you okay? So yeah, there's a lot of scenes I'm very proud of. That one at the end of six is a fave, I think.
And Harriet, what about you?
I don't know. That's a really good question. But I agree with Ben. Like watching it, it really does. It gets juicy in six. So six, seven, and eight are like it. The pace just picks up, and it's like bam, bam, bam. I think we noticed when we were reading the scripts that usually they'd have a certain number of scenes per episode, but the last couple of episodes just had so many more scenes than all of the other eps because it was so fast paced and just there was so much happening. And by that point, hopefully, you're really invested in the characters, and so like everyone's story is kind of coming to a but I don't know, I think eight, there's a few scenes in eight that I'm quite proud of. I don't know what to say without without giving anything
You're
away.
walking the perfect fine line, I promise you.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
But
we basically
they were
said just
really
watch
fun
the
to film.
last three episodes.
Episodes. That's
Yeah.
That's a perfect segue then to my next question, because this is, as I mentioned, such an intense, intriguing, and fascinating series for all of the characters involved, because there are so many secrets. There are such a fine line that each of you has to balance for society reasons. Harriet, is that what you think it's going to make it such a fast fan favorite series? Something that truly captivates people because it's got intrigue, it's got action, it's got secrets, it's got love, it's got sex, it's got romance, it's got all of these incredible things that truly builds to a captivating series that makes you a must-see program.
That's so nice to hear. I'm glad that you think that about it because I agree. I think it's great. And I think people will really enjoy it, hopefully, and connect to it. Because, like you say, there's so many things in it that are so relatable to us as humans. And even though it's set in like the 1870s, I think all of the themes of love and loss and unrequited love and first love and all those like visceral, messy things what I personally really connected to. Like the first time I read the scripts, and I was like, even though it's set over 100 years ago, I feel like I know these people, I know this girl, and I know her values and her insecurities. And yeah, I think there's something in there for everyone.
Absolutely agree.